Good evening, everybody. This is Rabbi Karen, and we're here for our Tuesday Maariv service. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're here on Facebook, on the UJUC page, JSLI, Rabbi Stephen Blaine. We are on SeemShalom.com. We are on Zoom. We are on YouTube. You can't get away from us. We're all over the place. I'm here on Zoom with Sue, Ellen Rose, Reba, and Ellen. So welcome to everybody. I'm glad you're here to join us as we begin our Tuesday Maariv service. Let's get the technology going. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is and how pleasant when we dwell together in unity. And now our call to praise. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai hamavorach li'olam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due, now and forever. Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim, when we look at that sunrise, when we look at that sunset, we think of Adonai's miracle of separating light from dark and dark from light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv ha'ravim v'chochma poter sharim u'vitvuna mishaneh etim u'machalif et hazmanim u'msader et kochavim b'mishmoroteim barakia kirtzono. You abound in blessings, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of all time and space, whose word brings on twilight. With wisdom you open gateways, with understanding you alter times, vary the seasons and assign the stars to their watches in the sky. Creator of day and night, who rolls light away from darkness and darkness from light, you cause day to pass and bring about night, distinguishing between day and night. Source of all forces is your name. O living and ever-enduring God, reign over us forever and ever. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who brings on twilight. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim. Everlasting love you offer your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now the prayer that states who we are. We're not asking, but we are telling the world all who we are. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed be the name of his glorious kingdom, forever and ever. And you shall love. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently to your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you rise up, and when you lie down. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy, holy unto your God. All right, let's take a pause for a moment. Just say a quick hello to everybody. See if anybody's a restream. Hi, Albert. Good evening. I'm glad you can join us. I hope you're doing well tonight. All right, guys. I hope everybody's well and happy and feeling good and not involved in that horrible weather out in the Midwest, but everybody's safe. All right, let's continue on. And as Miriam and the women went through that miracle of the parting of the Red Sea, they sang, Mi chamocha ba'lim Adonai, Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, no ra tehilot, osef eleh. Malchutecha ra'u beinecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Eli anu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Eternal One, our God, cause us to lie down in peace and raise us up to life, our sovereign. Spread us over your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us for your name's sake. Shield us and remove from our path all hostility, disease, war, famine, and sorrow. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you are a protecting and saving power, truly a sovereign power. Gracious and compassionate are you. Guard our going and our coming in life, and in peace now and for all eternity. Spread us over your shelter of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeh sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Eternal One, blessed are you, Eternal One, who spreads your shelter of peace over us and all of your people Israel and over Jerusalem. Yitgadal v'yitgada shemei Rabba b'yamadi rachirute b'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uv'yo omechon uv'chayedecha beit Yisrael. Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, V'yimru, Amen. Yeshmei Rabo Mevorach, Le'olam Me'amaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yabav Yeroman Dinaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitale, V'yitalal, Shemei Kudusha, B'riachu, Leila Mecha Bechata V'shirata, Tush Bechata V'nechemata, Damiram B'yalma, V'yimeru, Amen. And now the prayer to our ancestors, the prayer that asks to keep promises that were made to our ancestors. And remember, we're all mishpacha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Sarah, Rachel, I'll do it again, V'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, V'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, V'zocher Chazdei Avot v'Imaot, U'mevi Gula Livnei V'nehem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Be'ezrat Sarah. Adonai is our strength. Adonai gives life to the living and is all the strength that we need. Ata gibor li'olam Adonai, mechaye hakolot rav lahoshia, mechakeh chaim v'chesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei holim, umatir asurim, umkayem emunato, lishenei afah, micha mocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit, umkayem, umatzmiach Yeshua, nemanata lahayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Let me pull up Restream. Okay. Do two wrongs or more make a right? This week's Torah portion. The Torah is very clear about deception. Do not deceive or lie to each other in Leviticus 19. Yet we've seen the deception that Jacob and Rebekah held over a blind Isaac. Jacob is convinced by his mother to disguise himself as his brother Esau to receive the firstborn blessing, and he must run and hide from his brother's anger. How could Jacob, the hero of Judaism, be so deceitful? His brother, a hunter, became the bad guy in this story. Esau wasn't spiritual. He sold his birthright for lentil stew. The midrash that he lied to his father to make him believe he was pious. He married two Canaanite women. Therefore, Jacob appears next to his brother to be the good guy. Do not deceive or lie to each other. Jacob lies and deceives, but we see in this parsha, Jacob is also lied to and is also deceived. He runs to his uncle Laban to hide out for fear that Esau would kill him. And he meets and falls in love with Laban's youngest daughter, Rachel. Jacob works the deal made 7 years in exchange for marriage. At the wedding, Laban substitutes his eldest daughter, Leah. Only Jacob discovers this deception in the morning. According to a new agreement, he marries Rachel 1 week later and works another 7 years. At the end of 14 years, he tries to return home with his 4 wives and all his children, animals and possessions. But Laban makes a deal with Jacob and tries to swindle him. As Jacob is blessed that whatever he touches prospers, the deceit against Jacob fails and is more blessed with possessions, and he takes his families and his possessions and goes back home. Did Jacob get away with his lies and deceitful behavior? Do all his wrongs make a right? Or did Jacob pay with more than 14 years of his life? Why don't you unmute and give me your thoughts?
I don't think he got away, but he gets he gets credit for it. He becomes, in a sense, the father of a nation, of nations, because of what happens. And yet he pays for it in its way, but yet it's based on it's all based on subterfuge. And that's, I liken to today, if someone says, well, I did something wrong at the beginning, I got myself a business, and I was not quite squeaky clean at the beginning, but I did a wonderful job. And he could say, look, I can quote the Bible to you. What do you say to that?
What do you say to that?
Yeah, that's what was my answer. What do you say to that?
No. So what do you say to Jacob? So he was deceitful, he was rewarded, he was punished, but not enough.
It depends. Well, I don't know.
I'm
if it's
asking
enough.
your opinion.
Oh, I would say that's what it is. For whatever reason, Hashem decided that this is what it was going to be, and that's what it's going to be.
Okay, so we just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point.
Anybody else? I got people behind the screens. I got everybody muted. Any thought, Sue? Ellen, no thoughts. You just shaking your head.
I know Sunday when we were talking about this, I was, mentioned, when he was deceiving Isaac, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isaac would have known the voices of his sons, they're just feeling this stuff. It's like I said, all my cats, I can tell my cats by their voices. You can
Mhm.
tell it by their meows. So how can a father not know his son by his voice? So I think, he probably knew what was going on, but at the same time, I think maybe
Okay,
Maybe-
maybe Isaac knew,
yeah,
but Jacob was still trying to deceive.
yeah. And Jacob, I think each brother had their own strengths, and maybe Jacob was more of had what it took to be more of a leader. It's not diminishing the other who had other strengths.
Mhm.
Eh,
Well, the only thing is that, like, you have to know who the audience is.
yeah.
All right. So, for example, when I studied a lot about Israel at the time of Jesus, a lot of stuff that was going on, and I read about the creating of the Christian Bible.
Mhm.
Well, who's the bad guy in the Christian Bible? The Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
But why?
Pharisees.
No, but why not the Romans? Because when they were writing the Bible, which was not at the time of Jesus, but it was 100, 200 years later, the audience was the Romans. They were
Right.
trying to attract the Romans. Therefore, you can't make the Romans the bad guy.
Right.
So who was the hero in our story? Jacob. So if we want to make Jacob the hero, we got to make Esau the bad guy. And he's got a bad rap.
Mhm.
And there's been much writing about how Esau was made so negative when really he wasn't.
Right.
It's a twist when you have to look at who's your audience, who are they writing to, why are they writing? You agree with me, Ellen? Yeah. Okay. So did Jacob get his punishment, or was he not punished enough? Reba, you there? Marvin, any thoughts? They must be on a break.
I don't think he was punished enough, but
Oh, okay.
I can't really say why. I think because he was deceptive.
Mm-hmm. So you think he broke the commandments about do not lie and deceive?
Yes.
Okay. So
And
was
the other-
14 years enough of a punishment?
Well, maybe. I'm not one to believe in, I'm one to believe that God does the punishing, not humans, and I don't have a right to judge.
Okay.
But I believe God did what he thought was just.
Okay. And you're not going to question that.
I can't question God.
But Moses did all the time. But okay.
That's true.
I understand. I understand.
But I'm not Moses. I'm only Ellen.
And Moses didn't want to be Moses either at that point. He kept saying, why me? But that's okay. Don't worry about it.
I don't
Anybody?
believe in the death penalty, that's for sure.
You don't believe in the death penalty? Is that what you
No,
said?
I do not.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Reba's going. All people
Believe
are
in-
complicated.
Yeah, so we can't tell what it really means punished enough. I mean, I think the trickery goes in both directions, and I do think Isaac knew who he was blessing.
Okay. Okay. But in his heart, not Isaac's heart, in Jacob's heart, he was deceiving. So is it so much the action, or is it so much his belief in what he was doing? In
Well,
actuality,
they struggled before they were born.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
Jacob probably felt he was just getting back what was rightfully his in the first place.
Okay. Although remember, he was led by his mother for that.
Right.
Well, right, because she felt the struggle, so
Mhm.
she felt Jacob was supposed to be born first.
Okay, I understand that, but is the fact that whether Isaac knew or didn't know he was being deceived the issue, or was the fact that Jacob's actions, he thought he was deceiving his father.
Well, he might have thought he was deceiving, but I think Isaac was even part of the plan.
That's a good take on it.
Okay, well, it's all part of the plan. That's
I mean,
sort of what
Yeah,
Ellen
Isaac
was saying.
planned with Rebecca.
I
That
have a question. If Rachel is the one that's wanted as the wife and Leah is the one that's stuck in there, how does he not know till the morning that it's not Rachel?
It was dark. They didn't have lights.
Oh,
And remember,
yeah, that doesn't make sense either.
I
That
know,
doesn't
but
make sense.
that is the justification. And in fact, if you've ever seen these biblical movies, the veils that they wear are not see-through. They're extremely, extremely heavy, which is why now, particularly in an Orthodox ceremony, they lift up the veil to make sure it's who it's supposed to be underneath it.
Surprise.
Right, they check before the surprise.
Yeah.
Because they used to wear these heavy, heavy veils and, you know, almost like the burqa kind of veil.
oh my goodness.
So you
Yeah.
couldn't see. So, you know, he didn't know that. I guess they didn't have any lights, any torches. Yeah, listen, we all wonder that, but I'm sure there's many, many writings about that too.
But the voice is different.
Who knows if she said anything? I wasn't there.
And how many times did he see her before they got married? Because that wasn't allowed at that time, to the extent that even much later in time, before our time even.
Or maybe he was just a very trusting guy.
That's
After
possible
all,
too.
this was his uncle.
Mhm.
So, you know, we could look at it many different ways, and some of it will not make sense. Okay. And some of it might make a lot of sense, but we do have some traditions that have come out of this. Go ahead, Sue. You were going to say something?
Oh, no. Well,
Oh.
I was thinking maybe the number of years he had to work, maybe it kind of matured him a little bit. You know, maybe he had time to grow up a bit.
14 years.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to say that there's a school of thought about what a coward he was. Okay. Because later on, he's heading back with his wife and all the kids and all the servants and all the animals and all the whatever. I mean, there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's heading back and he hears that Esau is coming to meet him. So what does he do first? He sets it up so the wives and kids are in the front line and he's in the back.
What a nice guy.
It's interesting thought that, you
Yeah.
know, our Jacob, who is our, you know, the ancestor. And some interesting thoughts that go back to the time with his brother up until the time of this. So listen, there's much to read about everything and much thought about everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
All
they'd
right.
be friendly when they met later. He
Yes.
charged Jacob, and he was afraid that Esau might try to kill him or something.
Mm-hmm. That's why he put the women and children first.
And then he had 4 kids with a woman that he didn't want to be married to.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get that either.
Well, I do, because it's not the ethics of today. It's not the morals of today.
I see.
Okay. I mean, look, how many wives today will say, I can't have children, so you can have my maid, and have a couple of kids with her.
I know.
Okay. So you can't
Crazy.
think in 2023 terms.
For American women.
Right. You can't judge things by November 29th terms.
Yeah.
To them,
Okay?
it seems like sex had very little to do with love.
Right. Right. I mean, look at the rules of sex. Okay. And the rules around sexual relationships indicates what they had going on back then.
Right.
Okay. There was a rule that you can't have incest. Can't have relations with your parents or your siblings, which
But
means
you could marry your cousin.
Yep, first cousin. And that goes back 2 generations ago. Because they didn't know about DNA at that time.
Mhm.
That's a DNA thing. You know, my grandparents were first cousins. Goes back just 2-3 generations ago.
I think that was fairly common among Jews very often.
And
To
Eastern
avoid
European.
to avoid marrying outside of their faith.
Exactly. Exactly. But if you look at incest was not allowed. Well, you don't make a rule unless something is happening. Well, that must have meant incest was going on.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I can't
You-
remember was it Veronica that slept with her father? It's not Veronica. I've got
No,
the
there was
wrong
no
name.
Veronica. It's
There's
the
no
two,
Veronica.
it
but
was
there
the
were
2
women that
daughters.
slept with
It was-
the daughters. slept with
Yeah,
his
the
father.
last daughters.
It was the 2 daughters when they escaped
Yeah.
out of Sodom and the mother
Yep.
turned to stone.
Last
to pillar of
daughters.
salt.
Mhm.
But I can't remember. I'm just going blank at the moment for who it was. But, and again, how do they justify that? But if you take a look at
Wasn't that Lot?
Lot,
It was
Lot.
Lot.
And Noah?
Lot, it was Lot.
Lot.
It was
Lot.
Lot.
That
It's
is-
Sodom
And
and
the 2
Gomorrah.
daughters are not named.
Yeah. But if you go back, if you look at the rules of what people were told what to do and not to do, that meant that they were doing those things. You can't
Right.
look back at that and say, well, we're living in a very modern time and how could they do that? You can't judge the whole world by 2022. You have to look at the world at that time.
Right.
And how did we get, that teaches us how we got to where we are today. But you can't judge them. Bless you. You can't judge them by our morals of today.
Mhm.
You just can't. And, you know, when people want to look at, you know, what's woke and how can you do honor this one, you can't look at our life and say they should have lived like us.
Mhm.
Because they didn't.
Mhm.
We live like us and they live like them. Okay, let's go back to our, oh, Reba, you're sideways. So now, if you can all mute yourselves, let's take a moment to listen to the prayers in our hearts and in our minds. Ose shalom bimrumav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'hakol Yisrael, v'imru, imru, amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, let peace descend on us in all Israel. And all together let us say, amen. And now our prayer for healing. So let me pause this and please type in the names of those who need our healing thoughts and prayer. I'm going to start with Sid and Joyce, Katie and Luna, Chris, Robert's mother-in-law, Joni, Robin, Riley, daughter Brandy, Elizabeth's daughter, Gil, Hannah Batliola, Joel and Lori, and my friend Susie. And if you have any names of people who need our healing thoughts and prayers, please type it in. Let me bring up my other chat. Valerie, Erin, Maddie, Trey, Malcolm, Rose, Mayo, Amy, Tamara, Joel, Beth, and her father, Rabbi Galit Albert, our loved ones and our loving pets. All those suffering physically and emotionally, Dorothy, Mark, Marlene, Jean, Mary, Sue, Jimmy, and his father. All Sim Shalomers in need of refuah shlema. Usually I hear from Marvin, and usually I hear from Ellen Rose.
You hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Dawn Allnut and Nelson Raspoldo.
Thank you. Anybody else? You could say it if you want to.
JD Batwana, B. Bat Etta, Farlene Bachaya, Aaron Ben Ellen, Terry Ben Betty. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else?
Yes, Timothy Paul Taylor, Carol Pontius, Janice Tantler, Joy and Judith Snyder Wagner, and Patty.
Okay. All right, let's go back. Mishe beirach avotenu mehol habraha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe beirach imotenu mehol habraha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kikoye haratzot, velo samanu kimishbachot hadama, shelo sam halkenu kahem, vigoralenu kechol hamanam, anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlochim, hakadosh baruch hu, V'ne'eman v'ayadonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. We recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at the season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we praise Adonai and pray for the coming of Adonai's kingdom. And I want to mention my brother-in-law, Scott, who passed away recently. Yikadal v'ikadash shemei rabah b'yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael b'agalav azman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevorach li'olam al mea maya. Yit barak v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yiroman v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal. Shemei d'gudisha b'richu. Le'elam mincho birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiram v'yalma v'yiru amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yiru amen. Oseh shalom b'rumav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. And may all those who are in mourning be comforted by the one who comforts all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, sharing this fine evening with me. Thank you. Be well. Check out our JSLI website for an upcoming rabbinic class. We want to get our JSLI program back. Our cantorial program. We're here, folks. We're here 5 days a week. Thank you for joining. Be healthy and be safe.
Toda Rabbi, Rabbi.
Okay.
Shavua Tov.